in the shadows of the old library halls, where the dust is thick and the silence calls. Books tell stories of the things unseen, of foxes wild and spirits keen. Whispers in the stacks they creep, ghostly chills that steal your sleep. Paranormal truths no one believes, they linger here like autumn's leaves. Bibles open to verses dark, stories written to leave their mark. The wildlife outside hears the moans, silent foxes, the forest groans. The last of these you cannot tame, a history buff who knows no shame. Paranormal life outside hears the moans, silent foxes, the forest groans. The past of beast you cannot tame, a history buff who knows no shame. Paranormal tales in every spine, haunting truths that cross the line. Whispers in the stacks they creep, ghostly chills that steal your sleep. Paranormal truths no one believes, they linger here like autumn's leaves. Spirits waltz through moonlit air, books fall down as if to dare. Foxes howl in the wooded shade, they guard the truths that time forbade.
All right. Love that song. Love that song. Thank you, Sweet Tea, for that. Always. I have to thank you each and every time because it's such a wonderful song. And I do appreciate that you created that for me. But welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Glad you could join me on this Friday before Labor Day. Before I say hello to everybody and light my candles, I want to say I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. We're going to go with our guest first. We're going to talk to her first because I want to be respectful of her time. And then we'll get to the stories afterwards. So that's the agenda for this evening. So she's waiting in the wings and we're going to get her up here shortly. But first, I want to say, light my candles as I always do and say hello to everyone. Hello, Sweet Tea. Hello, Gianni. How are you? How are you, Stiggs? Thank you for coming in. My candles are not lighting. Here we go. Delilah, how are you? Good to see you. Gerard, how are you? I'm going to try and get this lit. Dave T from Boston, good to see you. Delilah, I said hello to. Adam, Crevorsier, Theme Doom, my brother, is here. Good to see you. Did I miss anyone else here? Let's see. Patty, good to see you, Patty. And I realize this is a holiday weekend, so I don't expect everybody, all the usuals to be here, but I'm happy that anyone who can be here is. So thank you for joining. I'm having a little problem with this candle here. I don't know what's going on here, but we'll get to it. We'll get it going. And I can turn on my desk lamp and get the right mood for tonight. There we go. This one is going crazy over here. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. And let me start off by saying we have a guest. And this guest has been kind enough to share with us her experience. She had a couple of experiences with death itself. and I thought it was a very interesting topic. And we'd love to hear what she has to say. And she graciously offered to come on the show. She's watched the show a couple of weeks ago and brought this up. And there was some discussion about it in the chat. So I thought it was a great idea to do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get her up here. All right. Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Hello. How are you, Al?
Good, good. Thank you for joining. We really appreciate that.
Sure. My pleasure.
So, what I wanted to just do is let you basically tell your story. It's best to hear directly from you what happened. And what you've told me so far is that you had two experiences, I
Yes.
believe, where you were on the other side.
Yes.
Or, yeah. So, why don't you take us through that? Tell us how that was. What happened?
So back in 2004, I was 28 years old and I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
Wow.
And I was put on surgery. I
Mm-hmm.
was scheduled for surgery of 2 weeks post diagnosis because cancer, you don't know how aggressive it is. But
Sure.
anyways, the moment that I go into surgery, this is the first experience. As soon as I lay on the table and they put the propofol and I go to sleep, that same second I wake up somewhere else in another reality. It was
Wow.
me. I was dressed in white. It was my curly hair. I looked so young. I mean, I was young. I was 28, and I was walking, but I was happy, and I forgot who I was. My story here on earth. All I know is that I was happy that I was home. I walked into this beautiful temple, and it was marble, white marble everywhere.
Wow.
And then I seen orbs of light. I've seen different color orbs of light. Specifically, one that I remember, it was the violet color, and
Oh,
it kept going and it started going into my throat. All of
really?
them at the same time, but specifically that violet one, and I kept looking at it, and then I wake up, and they're telling me to wake up. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm confused. I'm confused. Where am I? Who am I? And then I remember, but I said, okay, maybe it's the medicine, right?
Right.
But I found out later on through a neuroscientist, a neurosurgeon. His name is Eben Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
He's a neurosurgeon who also had an NDE. I would like you to see his story. Maybe you can have him on
Mm-hmm.
your show. Harvard professor.
Wow.
And he says that when you're under anesthesia, you can't have any form of dreams.
Really?
Therefore, yeah,
Wow.
part of it, I think, is your cortex or something to do with your, the animal part of your brain that
Yes.
that you breathe. So that
Right.
one is numb, right? So you really can't dream, nothing. So I was I didn't want to tell a lot of people because I was confused. Second time around, this was really bad. I had a complication because of the first surgery. I had to go to second surgery. This one, I I almost died on this one.
Wow.
I was put on medicine. We're talking about 2004. The medicine was stronger than morphine. So at that point, it was fentanyl.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so I was sleeping most of the time. But I remember at one point, I was really on a decline, cytokine storm. It was pretty bad. And it, at the emergency room, they tried to do 8 IVs and they all collapsed. No, they had to, next it was going to be through here. But luckily, I
Yeah.
got a nurse who got a line in. So
Yeah.
then I went into what happened that night. I went into this, it was a weird, I'm going to try to explain it. It's very difficult for you to understand,
Mm-hmm.
but please keep up with me.
Sure.
So imagine I'm asleep. I can't even do this to my fingers. I don't have control of my body, but I'm in sleeping because that's what they want me to do because it was so painful. So I was sleeping, but then I was so awake and more conscious that I've ever been in my whole life.
Wow.
At that moment, I'm inside my body. I am outside my body. I'm looking at myself. I can see like 360 around the hospital. I can hear where the nurses are talking. Like you hear what the patients next door are saying. And I'm confused because I have this vision from up here, but I'm also down there.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, sure.
And in that moment, I went into this dark void, pitch black. I call it the void.
Mm-hmm.
Been Christian all my life. I was thinking, oh my God, I made it to hell.
Right, right, right.
But then I realized at that moment that I said, wait a minute, my soul knew better than that. Mm-mm,
Right,
mm-mm.
right.
My soul knew better than that. I said, wait a minute. I said, I don't belong here. What is this? I said, God, where are you? And in that moment that I said that, but then again, I didn't say it because I had no mouth.
Yeah,
It
you
was
thought it,
called
I guess. You felt it or thought it. Yeah,
telepathy, right?
yeah, yeah,
Thought.
yeah.
And in that moment, I see a prick of light, and then we started merging, merging, and merging. At the moment we were merging, it was the brightest, biggest sun. But again, it didn't hurt my eyes because it was my light body,
Yeah, right.
my photon body, no mass. So I'm looking at that light, and that light, the closer I'm getting, the stronger the energy of love. And
Wow.
it's the most beautiful experience. Dying is ecstatic. Dying is going back to the purest form of love, agape love. The Bible says you're love.
Yes.
Jesus says God is love. Jesus said I am the way. When I think that Jesus meant love is the way.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this question. Were you upset when you came back? Were you
No,
upset because it was
no,
so good?
no,
It was so much love there?
no. I asked to come back. But check this
Oh, okay.
out. I could
Okay.
have stayed there for the rest of my life. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
could have stayed there. But I was a single mom. I had two
Ah,
children. I had a
there you go.
15-year-old and I had a young daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And my son was an aspiring firefighter. My daughter, I wanted her to go to college.
Sure.
I had my son at 15,
Yeah.
okay,
So
14 and a half. So, I needed my children. So I spoke to God and I said, God, I can stay here forever in your love, but my children need me. And I said
yeah.
this, and I said, if you send me back, I will work for you. And then, boom, maybe 2 days later, I wake up. Okay. It felt
Mm-hmm.
like a second, but I must have been with God for 3 days. Okay. It really
Right.
felt like a
Right.
second.
Right.
I wake up and check this out. I had a cut inside my mouth from here to here, and another one right here. So I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't speak. My mouth was swollen. I couldn't speak. And a woman, well, as soon as I wake up, I'm crying because imagine being the glory of that beautiful love. Imagine my
Sure.
body was vibrating of love. I was in bliss. I cannot explain it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
never
yeah.
felt
Yeah.
love that way.
Yeah.
So I seen a lady, and the lady looks at me. She was clean. So I figured she was the cleaning lady. She looked at me. She sat next to me, grabbed my leg, touched my leg. I'm thinking this is like unethical, right? Nowadays, nobody can do that.
Right. Right.
But she said the following: God has heard you. He will give you the second opportunity.
Wow. So
That's
the
it.
cleaning woman said this to you.
And then she
Wow.
left, and I never saw
Wow.
her again. I
So
couldn't ask anyone because I could have died.
maybe she was an angel or
Angel.
something, you know?
She
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
She was an
Yeah.
angel.
Yeah.
So after that incident, I became really sick, um, with a lot of allergies. And then, you know what I've noticed? If you have other near-death experiencers, you might want to ask them this.
Mm-hmm.
When they come back, their body comes back and they have a lot of allergies. I think it's because we went over the veil, across the veil. When we came back, our energy frequency is so high that our bodies can't hold it.
Right.
So
Right.
I have a lot of like autoimmune,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, I had other close death experiences. And since that, since then, I've have developed a lot of spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
If you
Wow.
want to talk about it,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
So, but you're okay health wise now after all of this?
Yes.
Thank
And
God for that.
and you know
Thank God
what?
for
I'll
that.
tell you something.
Yeah.
I realized that everything in life has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Even cancer has a purpose. Because through cancer, I woke up to who I truly am.
Mm-hmm. So the whole experience changed you and
Amen.
made you what you truly were meant to be, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's an amazing story.
Hmm.
Um, When you were conscious again, did the doctors or anyone tell you that you were clinically dead? Did they tell you that at all, or
No,
you didn't tell anybody? You said you didn't
I
tell anybody.
I
Yeah,
didn't want to tell
yeah,
anybody because I was scared.
yeah.
They thought I was cuckoo.
Mm, right,
I wasn't
right.
ready. I didn't know. I didn't integrate it back then. I was 28. I had no
Mm-hmm.
life experience.
Sure.
No one else had a near-death experience. I come from a Christian background. You don't hear these things.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I kept it until 2020, COVID.
Yeah.
Woof,
Mm,
everything came out.
wow. So, what type of gifts, spiritual gifts, do you experience since then? What, if you want to
So
share?
I would love to share.
Mm-hmm.
I have this beautiful gift that pets come to me. So
Oh.
say I'll have a dream with a pet, a dog,
Mm-hmm.
and the next day I will meet their parents.
Oh,
They'll tell me
wow.
their name and they'll tell me what they died from. Um, I have my babies that will come. They come to me before their moms are they know they're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the reason is because I don't know if you know this, but right now a lot of babies that are being born, they're special souls. They're here to save this planet and humanity. These people are angels on
Mm,
earth. You notice babies are not the same as before. They're so advanced. A lot of them are prodigies.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
a
could
lot of
be.
these
Yeah. Sure.
a
Yeah.
lot of babies tell me, I have to do like energy healing, like the Holy Spirit. I pray over
Mm-hmm.
them, and then they get pregnant, and the babies
Oh, that's nice.
it comes to pass.
Yeah.
Um, what else? People that are in about to pass away. I've connected with someone who was in a coma. Recently, I helped a case in Washington where a gentleman was lost for about a year, and his case is on. You can search him. Is Aníbal Arreola on in Washington, and
Mm-hmm.
I was able to actually tell them exactly how he died,
Oh, wow.
where his body was dumped, because I was able to astral project and see it, and I
So
was
he was a
able to have
victim. He was a victim of a murder.
exactly
Oh, terrible.
and
Terrible.
exactly how I told the family. Then they caught the bad guys and they confessed to exactly what I told them.
Oh, great.
The only thing I missed was that I told them that he probably was in his car because it was in metal, but they shredded his car and he was inside a trash can, but he was still in
Oh,
metal. That's
okay.
the only
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They
Right.
found him. They
Yeah.
found him.
That's
So
all that matters. They found him. Yeah.
they found the body. So
Yeah.
that's good. So I'm
Yeah.
still developing my gifts as I go, and it's a beautiful life. I'm just here to remind you. I was sent to remind everyone that you are the light. You are all made in love, in perfect love, and you've always been love.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus was right. Everything that Jesus said, that love is the answer for everything, that he was right. Love is the answer for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yeah, and
Everything.
that's always been the Christian teachings. It's always been
Yeah.
that love is really Jesus always preached love, and that was the ultimate. So you've
Right?
experienced it firsthand. You experienced that love firsthand.
I tell you,
Hmm.
so when I know someone goes home, I say, thank God they went home.
Right, right.
I wait for death with open arms. I have helped people pass away, and it's an honor. It's beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's don't be afraid of death, everyone. Death
That's
is
a great
beautiful.
message. Right. Don't be afraid.
You're never ever dead. Not even 1 second. One moment you're here, another moment you're transcend. Remember, we're energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only change forms.
Right, right. Well, listen, this was an awesome story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I don't have any other questions. It's just a great. It's just an amazing story.
If you guys want to follow me, I have really beautiful content on Facebook where I share biblical things, but
Hmm.
in a scientific form because I share scientific information to back it up
Okay.
with the
No, that's
Bible
awesome.
verse.
Share.
So it's beautiful.
What's your Facebook
My Facebook is
page?
under Sandy Figueroa, and then
Okay.
you'll see me as a spiritual coach. And then if you want to follow me on Instagram, I am under 333 Soul Spirit. I offer readings, mini readings, and
Okay.
Reiki healing. If you guys want to follow me, I do a donation based. I'm a legal secretary by trade, but I'm honoring that now. I'm working for Spirit.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. We all appreciate it. The chat seems like they
Do they have
they enjoyed it.
questions?
Yeah. Does the chat have any questions? That's a good question. That's good. Right. Anybody in the chat? Does anyone have any questions for Sandy? Let's see if anyone puts anything up here. Hi, Slim. Hi, Tammy. Let's see. People are just saying thank you for sharing. Cinnamon Girl says thank you for sharing.
Don't
What
be
town
afraid
in
of death.
Washington? Osada Treats lives in Washington, the state of Washington. So he's asking what town in
Um,
Washington.
I can't remember, but if you look at the name, Kensington, I want to say, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But if you look at Aníbal Arreola, Arreola, Arreola.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go, Osada. There you go. Look up that name.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see anybody else here. Oh, can Sandy type in her Facebook location? I didn't catch her last name.
Figueroa, F as in Frank, Igueroa, and I'm in Los Angeles. I don't have the exact Facebook.
Okay.
But it does say I start with knowing others is wisdom, knowing yourself is enlightenment. Follow your bliss. That's my Facebook. There it says.
Yeah. So anyone, if you could just go back and watch this again to get the name if you missed it. You know, you can get it that way too. Just go back.
Sandy Figueroa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Todd just shared. Oh, Todd, you're sharing her Instagram? Is that? I think you should put it in the chat.
Thank you.
There you go. Thanks, Todd. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Sandy, so much. And
Spread
you have
the
a
love.
wonderful.
Spread the love,
Spread the
everyone.
love.
Spread the
Yes.
love. Spread the love.
Absolutely.
And you know what? There's only two emotions in life: love and fear. Love, compassion, gratitude, joy, helping others. Fear, depression, anxiety, regret, anger. Remember, only two emotions. Always ask yourself whenever you have to make a decision: am I making it out of love or fear? And always, always, always go back to love.
And love will conquer fear. Love will always conquer fear.
Amen.
Thank you. All right. Thanks so much, Sandy. You have a wonderful weekend, and best of luck with what you're doing because you're doing a lot of good. So,
Thank you, sir.
best of luck with that. Thank you.
Goodbye, sir.
Bye bye.
Take care. Goodbye.
Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, that was pretty awesome. That was pretty interesting and enlightening. That's great. And it's amazing how these things happen. She would happen to be in the show, watching, talking in the chat, and then we reached out and we were able to get her on here to tell her story firsthand. So that was very good. Thank you so much, Sandy. On behalf of everybody, that was awesome. All right. So let's move on to our stories. And tonight's stories are from Vancouver, Canada. Not Vancouver. What am I talking about? This is the wrong week. Vancouver's in the future. This is Nova Scotia. Now, if you, I hope everyone knows where Nova Scotia is. It's the easternmost port of Canada. It's right north of New England. Very pivotal area in the American Revolutionary War, the French and Indian War, from an American perspective, a very pivotal area there. The British bases, British forts were put there as well. So there's a bit of a connection there, French roots, but English as well because of the British taking over after the French and Indian War. But there's a lot of stories from this region, which I found pretty interesting. I picked 4 of them, which I'm going to go through, and I hope that you're going to enjoy it. So if people came into the chat, I didn't say hello. I'm sorry. Gina, hello. Suzanne, hello. How are you? I said hello to Slim before. Gianni. I don't know if anyone else came in. Oh, I think I hit everyone else before. Stiggs. Yes. Okay, cool. Cinnamon Girl. Okay. Very good. All right. So let's talk about our first story. Our first story is called The Blue Nun and the Red Priest. Now, this takes place in a place called St. Francis Xavier University. And this was a Jesuit, if you're familiar with Catholic schools and Catholic education, Jesuits is a sect of priests that dedicated their lives to teaching. Seton Hall University was originally Jesuit. Many of the traditional Catholic universities and schools were founded by Jesuits. And this was one of them. This was in Canada when the French controlled it. And this particular school was established in 1853, and it had a sister school as well for women. So in that time period, the men and the women were separate. The boys and the girls were separate schools for separate sexes. And St. Francis Xavier was the boys' school, and then there was a sister college by the name of Mount St. Bernard. And this is important because our story takes place in 1894. Or the story originates in 1894, because we're dealing with a priest who was teaching at St. Xavier and a nun who was teaching at Mount St. Bernard. And over the years, I've always heard stories about how there were priests and nuns that got into romantic affairs and left the vocation because of it. Well, and those happened later on. Those happened in the 20th century. But this particular event happens in the 1800s. So there isn't much tolerance for that. There isn't much tolerance for people leaving because of that, for breaking their vows of celibacy because of their personal relationship with another. Hello, Donna. Thanks for joining. Tara, good to see you. All right. So these two fall in love, and they have an affair. And in fact, they're both thinking about leaving and taking that risk and leaving their vocations to go start a life together. Now, in the course of doing this, something not so uncommon happens. The nun becomes with child because of their relationship. Now, this puts a monkey wrench into everything, because this heightens everything to the 10th degree. Leaving the vocation is one thing, but leaving for this reason would be a tremendous scandal, and there would be consequences of some type that no one would want to deal with. Let me put this down a little bit. There we go. That's better. So what happens? Well, the nun in question is bearing the greater burden here. She is with child. She's petrified and horrified of what might happen to her. So what occurs? Unfortunately, she decides she cannot live with this. She cannot live with the fact that she betrayed her vows and that she would be giving birth to someone out of wedlock. And unfortunately, she takes her own life by jumping off of a balcony off of this college. Now, when this happens, there is a tremendous reaction. What happened? How did this happen? They find out she was with child. How did this happen? Now, the priest, the father of the child, finds out about this in the course of this tremendous hullabaloo that happens. And he is riddled not only with guilt, but with the pain and anguish of losing his beloved as well as his future child. And before it even gets out that he is the father of this or would-be child, and he was the paramour, I guess, of the nun. He decides to do and follow his true love, and he opens his veins in a bath and expires. So you have kind of like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing, but not so much. The tragic part, yes. But um, one thing's for sure, they both loved each other, and this was such a tragedy as a result of that. Now, these things happened in different locations on Xavier University, because remember, those two schools merged. I don't know if I forgot to say that the women and the men's school merge and become Xavier University, and they had already done that. The schools had merged when this tragedy occurs, but the nun dies in the old girls' buildings, and the priest dies in the current buildings of the traditional Xavier campus. So they die in different places. And what you'll see happen here is that these two spirits are trapped in different locations and trying to get to each other in the afterlife, and just don't do it. Just can't do it. They're trapped where they are. So, excuse me, as a result of this, what over the years, again and again, these spirits come in anguish trying to reach each other, and there's been a lot of encounters, some with the red priest and some with the blue nun. Now, why are they called the red priest and the blue nun? Well, they're called this because of the tales of the encounters with the priest. He is glowing red. There's been a consistent description of his figure being glowing red light around him. And consequently, the same with the nun. When she materializes and embodies herself, comes into the material form, or whatever you want to call it, there's a glowing blue light around her. So thus the names, the red and the blue, the red priest and the blue nun. Now, the priest is said to be stuck in this particular hall called Gilmora Hall, and there's a huge staircase where people often see him trying to come down the staircase to make his way out, but never really gets there. Gets out, and then something stops him he tries to leave the building by starting at the top of the stairs and coming down. Before he gets to the door to get out of the building, his spirit materializes, disappears completely. The nun is often seen in the girls' dormitories. That's where she tends to materialize. And they will see her floating and wandering, and often very with expressions of pain on her face and sorrow. And many will encounter her. Many will encounter her floating blue lighted image in and out of the dorms. So it's not like one particular area, all over the female dorms. So some other things that are said, that there's the footsteps of both are heard quite often in these different locations. There are objects that are moved about quite often, which are common ghostly activities, slamming of doors, water faucets turning on and off. These are all expressions of frustration of the spirits trying to get out from where they're trapped. There's also been a sound of a ringing phone. No, a ringing old-fashioned phone, and this is kind of odd to me, because the phone wasn't around in 1894. It may have been, I don't know exactly when it was invented, but it wasn't common. So I doubt very, very much that there was a phone here at the time. But there's this old-fashioned phone, the kind of phone that you would speak into and hold the thing near your ear. That type of ring, whatever that ring sounds like. I don't even know what that ring sounds like, but that's what people hear. They hear that echoing through the halls, and there is no such phone there currently. There's been an account of a student, particularly with the Red Priest, whose books were always organized, and one day he finds that his books are completely rearranged. They're all in different orders, et cetera, and he can't figure out what happened. He wakes up in the middle of that next night and he sees the red priest at the top, at the foot of his bed, staring at him, pointing at him, and shaking his head before disappearing. And no one can really figure out what is the purpose of this or why it happened, but who knows? Maybe it was an attempt for help. Maybe him reaching out for help to release his spirit from the locked area where he is. Who knows? But there's also tales of shadow figures here and there in and about. I don't know if there's a direct correlation between the priest and the nun and these shadows, but people have seen these shadows dashing around about. And as a result, to this day, people will still, every year, each class that comes in there has at least one or two people that encounter both of these spirits. So it's an ongoing thing that's been going on for over 100 years now, that these ghosts are very active and wanting to get loose, wanting to connect, I guess, with each other, but for some reason just can't do it. So it's a sad story of trapped spirits in these two locations so close together, yet they cannot connect. So it's quite sad and tragic, but it's something that's still going on to this day, since 1894 to this day. And there you have the tale of the blue nun and the red priest. So that's your first story. And I do have a picture of the college I wanted to show you, just so you get a good idea of what it looks like. Hold on a second here. Let's see if I can share my screen real quick. As you can see, it's very old, very beautiful architecture of a very old university. And I believe this is, I couldn't tell, but I think this is Gilmora Hall, where the priest is. And I think I have I think I had another picture somewhere of the university, a larger picture that kind of shows you what it looks like. Let's see here. Give it one more shot here. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, this is Gilmore. This is Gilmora Hall, as you can see. An older building, right? An older building. It had to be there in the 1890s. And this is what Gilmora Hall looks like on the campus. But it's a beautiful campus. From what I've seen, I looked at the website. It's a beautiful campus. So there you have it. The blue nun and the red priest who haunt St. Francis Xavier University in Nova Scotia. All right. Let's move on. That was number one. Paulie, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. All right. Next story. The Legend of Piper's Pond. Now, this story takes place in a town called Windsor, Nova Scotia. And this goes back to the early 1900s. And again, this is a story of lost love that couldn't happen and the taking of their own lives because of it. So the story goes that there was a Scottish soldier who was assigned to Fort Edward, which is not very far from this area in Nova Scotia. And he was a Highlander. And if you know what a Highlander is, it's the Scottish regiments that have the bagpipes, they wear the kilts, traditional Highlander outfits. That's what they were, and they're in the service of the of the British Empire and stationed in Canada because at the time, the early 1900s, it was part of Canada. It was still part of the and I think it still is to some degree. Canada is in some way related to the crown. You know, I think they still have the queen on their money, et cetera, et cetera. So, um, but anyway, you get the gist. He is a Scottish regular who was stationed in Fort Edward. Now he falls in love with a local girl, and this local girl, um, and he are meeting quite often. And the area in which they meet is a place that will it's called Long Pond, but because of what this story, it's called Piper's Pond. But it's the real name of it is Long Pond. Now, let me show you what it looks like. So these two lovers would go and meet each other. He would sneak away from the fort. She would sneak away from her family. Both young people, and they would meet and spend time together at Long Pond. All right, let me pull up Long Pond so you can take a look at what it looks like. I could only find a winter shot of it. So, and it's a big an outdoor hockey area now. They play ice hockey on it. But this is what it looks like for the most part. It's a pond. It doesn't really change, but maybe some buildings are built on the outskirts there, but for the most part, it's still the way it was at the time of the story. So this becomes Piper's Pond. All right. And now here's what happens. This love affair is going fine. New love, young love, innocent love. Nothing bad or nefarious about it. But unfortunately, what occurs is the Scottishman gets his orders. The entire regiment is moving out. And this is something that will happen from time to time. They will move regiments from station to station. So he's being shipped back overseas, back to England. He is horrified about this news. He tells his love this is going to happen. So they both agree that they're not going to tolerate this. What they're going to do is they're going to meet one final time and they're going to run away. They're going to disappear into the Canadian wilderness and start a life under different names. No one will ever know the difference. That's the plan. So the night comes in which they're going to do that. The soldier attempts to sneak away from the fort to go to the pond. The girl goes to the pond. Unfortunately, what happens is the soldier is caught by his sergeant and delayed tremendously as he's leaving the fort. Eventually, the sergeant allows him to go, but on the promise that he's only going to say one final goodbye to his love, and then he would return to the fort with the regiment and go with the rest of them with their orders. So this whole monkey wrench is thrown into the plan. So he's delayed. However, the girl is still there. And time is passing and time is passing. And what the girl is starting to feel is that her love has abandoned her. She becomes heartbroken. And she begins to walk around the pond. And she walks around 6 times. And as she walks around the pond, she begins to contemplate, what will she do? Is it worth living without him? Can she live without him? What will she do? And unfortunately, she comes to the realization that she cannot live without her true love. Oh, thank you, Paula. You're awesome. Thank you so much. So 5 memberships have been gifted. That is awesome. Thank you so much. I can't really tell from here who's getting them. I'd have to look on the phone here because I can't tell from StreamYard for some reason. I don't know if that's just me or if that's normal, but I can't tell from StreamYard. But thank you so much, Paulie. You're the best. You're really helping the channel grow. That's awesome. Let's see. The more intuitive me got one. BK Skip got one. Stefano B got one. Ben Eberhard got one. And Witchy Trista got one. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. How come I can't gift? What if I wanted to gift memberships? I can't do it for some reason. I can't figure out how to do it. It's silly. I can't do it. But anyway, let's not worry about that right now. So where was I? So she feels that she's left. She comes to the conclusion that she's not going to live. She can't live without him. So she begins to obtain large rocks that she finds on the side of the pond, and she puts them into her dress. She finds enough rocks that they will keep her underwater. This is where she's going to meet her end, the pond where she spent such happy times with her love. And that's exactly what she does. She jumps into the pond. The rocks take her down underneath, and she perishes. Now, some time goes on, but the soldier does arrive. And the soldier arrives, and he begins frantically, he knows he's late, frantically look for his love. And he begins to walk around the pond, and he walks around the pond 7 times. Remember, she walked around 6 times. He walks around 7 times until on the 7th trip, he sees out of the corner of his eyes the horror of his love's face in the pond, looking up from her own shallow grave. And he is struck with grief beyond explanation or description. And unfortunately, what he decides to do is a similar thing. He decides he's going to join his love in eternal rest in this location. But what he does is he decides he's going to play her one final mournful song as he does so. And what he does is he plays this song and he walks into the pond, playing his bagpipes until he is submerged by water and perishes. So a tragic story of young love that ends in death. Now, what's the ghost part of this? Well, as you can imagine, or you can guess, both of these spirits are trapped here. And people will often see the female girl. I mean, I don't have names for these individuals because I couldn't find names. There are no names associated with the legend. But they'll often see the female spirit in a pink dress that presumably she wore at the time that they were going to go away, and she died. But here's the interesting part of the legend. They say that if you go to the pond and you walk counterclockwise 13 times, as Gerard puts in the chat there, 6 and 7, 13, you walk around 13 times counterclockwise, the ghost of the piper, the bagpiper, will rise from the center of the lake or the pond and begin to play that same song in hopes that he can summon his love, or I don't know what he's doing, but this is what they say happens. So if you're brave enough, you can go there, walk around the pond 13 times counterclockwise at night and see the spirit of the piper playing his mournful tone one last time. So kind of a creepy thing to do, and I'm sure some of these kids do it, or some people do it, especially towards Halloween. Who knows? But people have said it has happened. People swear by it, that it has happened, that the piper in some form will emerge and they'll hear the bagpipes playing. So some from the other side reaching out, if you follow this particular pattern, I guess. Tara said, I would definitely try that. Yes, it is creepy. Yes. And Cinnamon Girl, you say it's not creepy. Cinnamon Girl, how come you are not a moderator? What is going on here? That's not right. Yeah, Gerard says no thanks. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, so hit the like button. I always forget to say hit the like button. But yeah, hit the like button, guys. And like, and I will remember to do this, like Paulie does. If you want to really support the channel, become a member. That's really helpful. In me getting to fund this thing. But let me try to stop for a second here, and I need to get CG2 to be a moderator. I don't understand why these there's people in here that aren't moderators that are known. That's not right. There we go. Maybe it's because you have a different. I know you have 2 accounts, right? CG2. Maybe that's why. There we go. There we go. That should be fixed. There you go, on the phone. Okay. All right. Well, now now both of them have it. Now you both have them. All right. So that's the story. That's the story of the legend of Piper's Pond. All right. Now let's go on to number 3. The ghost of Frost Park. What am I doing? Did I showed you Piper's Pond. I told you Piper's Pit. Or Piper's Pit. Piper's Pond. I showed you Piper's Pond. All right. All right. The Ghost of Frost Park. Now, Frost Park is located in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. So this is a central park, so to speak. It's dead in center of Yarmouth, and you'll understand why there's a ghost here, and there's at least one ghost, and I'm surprised there's not more ghosts, because where Yarmouth Park is now, where Frost Park is now in Yarmouth, there was a cemetery. This was the city's cemetery, and it was so up until 1860. 1860s, I should say, 1860, and until to be precise, until 1869. In 1869, the city fathers decide that they're going to build another cemetery because things were getting the city was getting too large, or the town was getting too large. So they commission Yarmouth Mountain Cemetery, and they begin to move graves from there into the new cemetery. However, they don't move everyone. They move primarily those that are in the most center part, so that they can put in a fountain. Every late 1800s park that's built has a massive fountain in it. That's something that I've noticed, and I think that's a great thing. I don't know why they don't do it anymore, but it probably costs. But it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful fountain. And let me show you what it looks like here. All right, let's see. Okay. Here's what the fountain. It's not that big, but it is a nice, beautiful fountain. This is the center of the park, in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. And like I said, this was once all a cemetery. And many of the graves were moved, but some were not. So some are there still. And in fact, some tombstones are there still. And if you walk throughout the park, you may come across tombstones, which are people's graves. They just didn't move everybody. So as you might guess, there's going to be some activity, because when you move graves, or when you don't move graves and you turn the land into use of something else, it tends to disturb the spirits of those that want to be rested there. So big surprise, right? I'm really surprised that the only story I can find is one ghost. But so be it, right? So be it for him. Now, the story around this ghost happens around 1971, believe it or not. So it's relatively modern considering how old the cemetery is. This is the first report of the ghost, 1971. And since then, he has been seen over and over again. Now, he's described as a stout, distinguished distinguished looking gentleman in about 70 years old, wearing a heavy coat with a coat underneath it, and either a black or brown, either a dark brown or a black soft top hat, and smoking a pipe. The typical late 1800s looking that you would think about, late 1800s type of man, a gentleman of that time. So the first encounter with this ghost happens, like I said, in 1971. And it's the person that encounters this ghost is an individual by the name of Tom Surratt. Now, Tom Surratt encounters this ghost, and he doesn't realize it's a ghost. He just thinks it's a man. Just thinks it's a man that he meets that's dressed kind of odd. And he actually strikes up a conversation. So this is a ghost that's interacting with humans. It's not just a residual thing. And this ghost speaks to Tom, and he asks him if he's familiar with the Tuscan Islands. Now, the Tuscan Islands, I find out, is a group of islands, small islands, off the coast of Nova Scotia. So it's not far from where this occurs. And Tom responds, yes, I'm from here. I know them. I've been taught about them in school, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the ghost goes on to tell him that he buried a treasure in these islands, specifically in the Eastern Bar Island. So I'm going to show you in a minute. And then he asks Tom if he would help him, if he gave him directions, if he would help him by going there and digging up the treasure. So Tom is fascinated about this, but a little bit skeptical. He's never heard anything about treasure on these islands. And this random guy comes up to him in the park and asks him to go on a treasure hunt for him. So Tom thinks about it. I mean, he listens and listens to the instructions that the spirit gives him in terms of where to go, what to do to find the treasure. And he does this intently. And then as he's thinking about it, he turns away and then turns back to tell the spirit that he'll do this. And the guy is gone. He vanishes before his very eyes. And it's only at that point in time he knows that it's a spirit and not a man. That's how vivid and strong this ghost was. So what does Tom do? Tom decides to take the advice or, follow the instructions. Maybe there is treasure. I'd probably do the same thing. If I could get away with it, why not? Let's find this treasure. Let's see what we can do. So he takes a trip to the Tuscan Islands. Now, let me show you what the Tuscan Islands look like, so you have a full understanding of what's going on here. Hold on here. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is an aerial view of the Tuscan Islands. You can see they're not very big. They're barrier-type islands off the coast. And not inhabited. They're not inhabited. They're nature preserve type islands. So one can easily go there and do a treasure hunt without anybody knowing. Or someone could easily put their treasure there without anybody knowing. Right? All you need is a boat access to the islands because there's no roads that go there. So if you know how to boat or you know how to sail and you can get there, have at it. All right. So this is what we're talking about right here. Now, let me see something here. I think I had another picture somewhere. Maybe not. Oh, well, this is I want to show you this picture in a moment, but all right. So Tom goes to the islands and he takes his son with him, and they go and they start to dig. They want to go and find this treasure. So, but strange things begin to happen as they're on the island. As they're walking and they're following the steps that the ghost told them to follow, fresh and lively, healthy trees begin to fall in front of them, creating obstacles, preventing them from getting to where the treasure is. Very strange behavior of things happening. when they went to the island, they came and brought camping gear because they figured this will take them more than a day. So they came by boat. They brought camping gear. They brought supplies. Those supplies either disappear or go bad, spoil, and they shouldn't spoil. So we have trees blocking their paths. You have food going bad or disappearing. So two major obstacles or bad luck issues that happen. And then the final thing that's strange is they say they encounter a dog on the island that's colored red and white, but there's no reason for a dog to be there or no means for a dog to be there because no one else was on this particular island at all. There were no other human beings on the island. So how did this dog get there? Nobody knows, but it's a red and white colored dog, and I don't know exactly what that means, red and white, but you can imagine. And this dog seems to hound them and bark at them and bother them and bother them and bother them the whole time they're there. But eventually they do get to the initial spot, the actual spot where the ghost told them to look for the stuff, look for the treasure. And they find this tree. It's at the base of a very large and old tree. And as they begin to dig, they find that there is a hole there already. There's somewhat of a hole there. So they start to dig around the hole. And they take out a long pole to put down there to see how far it goes. And as they're doing this, a flock of 300 crows begin to fly around, circling and circling the tree, which drives them crazy. And this flock of crows is coming down closer and closer and closer to them in an attempt, I guess, to drive them off, to drive them away from the treasure. They put their pole down to the hole to see if they can hit bottom. They don't feel anything at all. They can't feel anything at all. And then Tom's son slips and the pole falls and they never hear the pole. They never hear the pole hit bottom. So at this point, they are too scared to go on with anything and frightful of what would happen if they were to open this bottomless pit or what have you. And meanwhile, the crows were harassing them. This dog was barking, constantly coming up to them and barking at them. And they abandon everything and go back to their boat and go home and just forget about the treasure. And they tell this story later on. Now, this did not end the appearance of the ghost, the top-hatted ghost. But they never went back to the park to encounter him. They did it. They were done with him. They didn't want anything to do with it. They just went along and did their thing. But other people have encountered the ghost in the future. Now, no one else has ever had a conversation with the ghost. Others have seen him in the distance, and one person claims to have taken a picture of him. And I have that picture, and I'm going to show you the picture right now. Hold on. Here we go. Where is my ghostly picture? Where is it? Why is this not working? Oh, here it is. All right. Now, here comes the picture. Now, this was taken with a digital camera. So this is relatively recent in the early 2000s. And a woman was in the park and wanting to take a picture in the distance of the fountain. You could see the statue, there's a statue in the park in the distance. She wanted to take a picture of the statue over from her location. Now, you see the tree area here? Do you see below the tree? I don't know if you can see this. I see it. I could see a man in a black top hat right here, as if he is either looking down or walking, looking down. And she claims that she did not see this, that this came out of the digital camera. This came after the fact. She did not see it at the time. But she claims that this must be, she captured the ghost in the top hat in the park. I don't know. I don't know why this would be a ghost and not necessarily a person. So, I leave it up to you guys to, but it definitely looks like a person to me. I guess it could be a ghost. If we follow Tom's description that he was so vivid you thought he was real, then then if we believe Tom, then you could buy this because it looks so real. It looks like a real person. But why? What's preventing it from being a real person that happened to have a top hat? I don't know. It's kind of strange that he would have a top hat, but who knows? But this picture was taken in the early 2000s, and the photographer believes that this is the ghost of the man with the top hat. So who knows? Delia says it looks like a witch. A witch, really? Over here? I don't know if you could see my cursor right here. I see the hat, the black top hat, and here's the black coat, and here's the guy's face right here. So I'm talking about right here. Hi, Zelda. Good to see you. Stony Tony is in the house. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Yeah, Gerard, I see him walking. Yeah, walking on the sidewalk. Exactly. Right. Some person walking on the sidewalk. Now, whether it's a ghost or not, I don't know. If you believe the woman that no one was there, then it's a ghost. If not, I would say it's just a man wearing a top hat. I don't know. I think the green is just the verbiage, though, Delilah. I think it's just the verbiage, not the verbiage, the the foliage. It's just the verbiage or the verb, whatever you call it. The bushes and the leaves and everything. I think that's the green there. But yeah, I don't know. Todd Father is backstage. All right, hold on a second. What's going on?
It's going down.
Who's this? Friday the 13th part. Who's this? Friday the 13th part 8? Is this Osada?
What's up, guys?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
So
Either that or like an Amish guy walking by real quick. I don't know. Abe Lincoln.
yeah, I mean it's like an Abe Lincoln hat. That's what I see. I see it's like an Abe Lincoln hat. But I don't know what makes it a ghost. To me, it could just be a guy wearing a hat.
What is his avatar?
It looks like Jason and you. Like it looks like, hold on.
It's Friday the 13th, part 13. Jason makes Todd cry. I couldn't fit it all on the screen.
As my wife and daughter are watching.
Yeah, there's a better view of it. There you go. There you go.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, like I'm not at the video stage yet, but I just that was just directly related to this story. So I thought I'd
sorry.
share. No, it's fine. It's fine. You guys can hang out. I don't care. That's fine. It's just the whole story itself was kind of creepy to me. How this guy meets this ghost, and then he encounters all these things on the island. He encounters all these like things hindering him on the island, which I thought was kind of an interesting type of like Indiana Jones type part of the story with the crows and everything flying at him and everything.
Oh, I totally believe it, and that would creep me out too.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. All these things start happening to you. That would be, I would run away too. I wouldn't hang around. That's for sure. I don't care how.
Do you want us to come back, ALV?
What was that?
You want us to come back?
I have one more story. So
I'll come back.
You want to come back?
Yeah, we'll come back.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Boot me out.
All right. All right. Hold on a second. All right, let me get rid of this. So that was just so that's the story, though. That's really the story of the ghost of Frost Park. This top-headed guy that was obviously the spirit, if he was a spirit, of somebody that was buried there in the 1800s. And had this peculiar link to some type of treasure that he wants help in obtaining. I don't know. But that is the Ghost of Frost Park. All right, let's go on to our fourth and final story. Our fourth and final story is called The Fire Spook of Caledonia Mills, Nova Scotia. The Fire Spook. Kind of funny name, but that's what it's called. Now, this story takes place in the year 1922. And there was a farm in Nova Scotia in Caledonia Mills, is the town. And it was owned by Alexander MacDonald and his wife, Janet, and their adopted daughter, Mary Ellen. They live on this farm. And it's kind of in a remote area. And strange things begin to happen on this farm. Let me show you real quick. Now, this place has since been torn down. It doesn't exist, so I couldn't find a modern view of it. But I did find this picture, which is of the farmhouse. And this person over here, this woman standing over here, is Mary Ellen, the adopted daughter. And you'll see how she becomes pivotal to the story. But this is the farmhouse. And the people in front of the farmhouse are the folks that come to investigate this after the family abandons it. It gets so bad that the family abandons the farm. And these reporters and paranormal investigators come in to investigate because this becomes a famous story at the time. It's the papers pick it up and it becomes the talk of Canada that this haunted farm, the spook farm, they call it, and paranormal people at the time, paranormal investigators, I was surprised they even existed in 1922, but they did, I guess. And they are attracted here and want to come and investigate it. And that's exactly what they do. All right. So what's the story? What happens? Well, it begins with weird poltergeist type of activity happening on the farm. And here are some of the things that happen. Each night, when the cows are put into their stalls, they're locked up. They're locked in their stalls, individual stalls, and the barn is locked. In the morning, when the family comes to let them out to go and graze, they have been moved in different stalls. They're not in the stalls in which they were left. So somehow these cows get out of locked stalls and switch the stalls they're in. That's number one. Number two is the milk that they're storing from these cows gets contaminated with ash from the fireplace for no reason at all. One day they open up the area of the stored milk and there's fire ash in it and it's ruined. All the milk that they had saved was ruined with fire ash being thrown in there. And then also, this is the weirdest. The tails of the horses end up being braided, and no one admits to braiding the horses. And this happens overnight. Like the long, if you picture a horse, they have a long tail, long-haired tail. The tails are braided. It's so creepy. They wake up to find their horses with braided tails. And these are all the creepy things that have been happening, but it really gets scary and bad when fires start to erupt. And that's why this is called the fire spook, or the fire spook of Caledonia Mills. Now, over the course of a year, 30 individual fires start on this farm. Nobody takes credit for it. No one will admit that they start them. Some of them are described as spontaneously happening in front of people's eyes. The wallpaper, for example, will catch fire and start burning. The different areas of the house, fires will develop and start burning. And it gets so bad that the McDonald's enlist the help of neighbors to form kind of a fire watch every night, so that as these fires happen, someone is there to put them out. Someone is there to raise an alarm and put out these fires. Otherwise, they would have all died, and the animals would have died, everything. But 30 such fires occur inexplicably. They just pop up out of nowhere at different parts of the farm at different times. They pop up. Now, it gets so bad, like I said at the beginning, that they can't take it anymore. They abandon the farm and they go. They leave. Now, when this happens, the newspapers pick up on this, and journalists show up, and so do paranormal investigators. They're going to figure this out. They're going to solve the problem for the McDonald's. Who knows? Let's see what happens. They try. Now, a couple of people come, and the first one that comes is an individual by the name of Harold Whiddon. And Harold Whiddon is a reporter from the Halifax Herald. And he says he's going to come and stay in the house and get firsthand account of what happens. He's going to do it and whatever. And with him, he's accompanied by a detective, a police detective by the name of Peachy Carroll. Now, the two of them spend 2 nights in the farm by themselves. Both of them encounter such a fright that they will not come back again. Both claim independently that they experience slaps in the face out of nowhere and slaps on the arm. So this is a violent type of spirit slapping them in the face and arms, to the fact that they feel the pain. And at one point, Harold Whiddon himself becomes catatonic while at the farm. He becomes in kind of like a zombie state, and he begins to walk around, go and get a pencil and paper and start to scribble for 2 hours straight, scribble all kinds of incoherent nonsense. And no one can understand why. And he doesn't even remember why he does this. He no idea why he does this. Now, after these two experience this, a third person comes, a third person by the name of Dr. Walton Franklin Prince. Now, this is the paranormal professor that comes, and he's going to solve what's going on here. So he comes to the house, and he stays there for a week. He doesn't encounter anything while he's there. However, when he returns to his office in New York City, he describes weeks of knocking on his door and no one there. This goes on for weeks, violent knocking at his door. And when he goes to answer it, no one is there in his office. And he believes that what happened was his experience there took the poltergeist with him, or one of the poltergeists, or something came with him to his office. But this eventually dies out after 2 weeks. And this encounter, or this experience, leads Dr. Prince, to come to the conclusion that this is a poltergeist that attaches onto people or follows them. And it's the scariest type of ghost, I guess, or spirit, whatever you want to call it. And his theory is that the fires, it starts because the fires stopped after the daughter, Mary Ellen, left. He believes that the ghost attached itself primarily to Mary Ellen. And because of that, the fires were starting. She's linked to the fires, and he publishes an article on this saying that she's the cause of it. And she vehemently denies doing anything like this. And in fact, what happens is she ends up getting put into a mental asylum because they think that she started the fires because of this article that this guy wrote. But before that happens, the family, after the period where these investigators went and pulled out, a couple of months go by, 3 months go by, I believe, 3, and the family returns. They return there, and it's only a matter of a month before the fires start up again. And it's at this point that Mary Ellen is committed to an insane asylum. And with that, they believe the fires would stop. But they didn't stop. Again, the family leaves. McDonald and his wife leave. And eventually the place burns down to the extent that the fires take it. And that's why it doesn't exist anymore. Eventually the fires took it. But they could never find a specific arsonist outside of this theory of this Dr. Prince that it was Mary Ellen starting the fires at the behest of this poltergeist making her do this. It's just a bizarre and creepy story, and quite a dangerous story when you think about it. The fires being set, and how the people and the animals could have been killed because of all these fires. But like I said, it was never solved, and there was never an explanation given as to why the horses' tails were braided, or who braided the horses' tails, or who moved the cattle from stall to stall, who would get up in the middle of the night and move the cattle from stall to stall. There were even times when the cattle were found outside of the barn with the barn still locked. So who did that? There were so many variables here that were unexplained that people wouldn't decided we're not going to go near this place. And it's to this day that no one has. It has just been completely abandoned and not used for anything because of the powerful poltergeist that is said to be there. So I don't blame them. I wouldn't go there either. This is not your Casper the Friendly Ghost type of stuff. This is or residual stuff. You can get into hot water playing with stuff like this. So that's the story of the fire spook of Caledonia Mills, Nova Scotia. And your fourth story of the evening. So we had the fire spook. We had the ghost of Frost Park, the legend of Piper's Pond, and the Blue Nun and the Red Priest. So a little Canadian visit this week on the Guild, and I hope you enjoyed that. So they get her out. Yeah, eventually she gets out of the insane asylum, but she spent a few years there. Yeah, she Tara, she was committed for a while, but eventually she's let out. But all because of this. But she, to her dying day, never admitted to doing the fires. Said that she was just a victim. That they happened on their own by the spirit or what have you, and that's how it ended. So, all right. So I thought they were pretty cool stories. Those are the four, and it's interesting how hard it is to find stories about a Canadian area like this. And I don't know if it's because I'm in the United States. I don't know why, but I can only find one particular site, and then I had to cross-reference it with just bits and pieces because it's not readily put out there. I guess I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's because there are certain Canadian sites that that don't pop up. Maybe I have to dig. I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting because this is outside of the U.S. and it was more difficult to find the information about the stories. Yeah, Delisle, Old MacDonald, right? Well, this guy was MacDonald, M-A-C, MacDonald, Scottish, the Scottish version. All right, so let's go on to our next part of the show. All right, time for some paranormal caught on camera. Hold on. Let me get this out of here. All right. Now, I only have 3. Getting hard. It's really getting hard to find things worth even talking about. What do I got here? All right. Now, where are my little co-hosts here? Or my paranormal co-hosts? Where are you? Let's see. Todd, if you're out there. Osada, if you're out there, come on back up. while you're contemplating whether you're coming back up or not, I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. Okay. All right, hold on. Here they are. Hello, welcome back. All right. Now, here is the first one. Now that you're going to, hopefully this one will make you laugh a little bit. Hold on. Ready? Here we go. Hold on.
What is that?
What is that?
That's a monkey in a dress.
No, nope. I debunked this one. But I will. Yeah, okay, a monkey. You say a monkey. What do you say, Todd?
Like a Cabbage Patch doll robot or something. My daughter says AI.
It's definitely not AI. This is older than AI. This is an older film. Let me see if anyone else has any ideas in the chat. Anyone else have ideas in the chat? Oh, it's real, Delilah. It is real. Believe me.
Oh, you know it's real?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Play
yeah.
it.
I debunked it. I know what this is from.
Play it one more time.
Okay.
It's almost like a kangaroo style of a weird.
It's going in slow motion this time.
Yeah,
All right. You ready?
I'm
I'll tell you
ready.
what it is. This is a trained poodle. Have you ever seen a poodle walk? They train the poodles to walk on 2 feet. That's what this is. They put a dress on the poodle and they made it run down. And you can tell that you can see the dog face at the end when it turns here. Let's see if I can go back.
Was there an
Is it
actual?
holding a stick?
Huh?
What was that?
Looks like it's holding a stick.
Yeah.
Holding a stick? No, that's just
Yeah.
that's just something here. I don't think it's holding anything. Hold on.
I see what he's saying.
Wait, hold on. Let me go back to here. Where did I?
Where did would they film this in the 1940s? They put color in it just now.
No, it's not that old, but I don't. All right, see now it's walking. It's it's doing its thing here. It can't hold anything because it's just got paws, and
You see the ears flapping. You're
you see
right.
the ears. Now watch at the end when it turns. You can see the dog's face right there. See it?
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So and this is an older film of trained dogs. So somebody took this and put it on the internet saying it was paranormal. But it's something from like the 70s where they were filming these dogs that they trained as poodles to walk or
Has there
run.
been a lot of paranormal experiences with poodles and dresses, or am I missing something?
I don't know.
It has the same like grainy video and the same feel as like the the Bigfoot video.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of like the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, maybe it's the Bigfoot guy. Who knows?
It's a baby Bigfoot. No. Yeah. So Sweet Tea kind of got it. Sweet Tea said that's an animal with human clothes on. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So let's get rid of this. All right, that's number one. Let's let's go on to this one.
Look at that avatar.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's quite an avatar. All right. Now, let's see. Now, this is just a still picture. Now, the background to this is that this is in a basement. This was taken in the 60s. This is in a basement. So it's taken not with a digital camera. It's taken with a regular analog camera. Come on, let's go past that. Here we go. Now, you see the man? You see the man there?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's his feet down here. I mean, is this just a blurred image? Is my question.
It looks like it's cut into the photo to me. Like the head, the part of the head, it doesn't match with the black. That looks like, doesn't look right.
So
I didn't see that part when he first started showing that until, you know what I mean? Like,
well, you could see his actual slacks. Like, you know what I mean? You could see that in the back of his shoes. So I don't think it's a ghost. I think it's either
it looks like one of those, like a chalk painting where they kind of like just fuzz out the actual image. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the front part looks like a photo, and the doorway looks like almost like a painting type of.
Yeah. Or the top head looks like it's drawn in or like penciled in or, yeah, like shaved in, chalked in.
Yeah, it's a bunch of shading, different layers of shading type of thing. But
the bottom, the pants look real. Like the pants and the feet look like a real thing. And I don't know. It's just weird. And it's weird how the head would go above, like if that's actually the head, it goes beyond the piping there or whatever that is.
right.
You know,
There's a bigger head than mine.
yeah,
he's 8'5" at least. That guy.
yeah. So it's just, I guess it's creepy, but I don't think it's a ghost. It's creepy looking, but I don't think it's a ghost.
Well, it's one of the places I get most creeped out are in basements. I don't like basements.
Mm-hmm.
Especially older basements.
Well, yeah, look at that, and look at that washing machine over there with the strainer. It's like to the left. It's got like the rings that you'd wring out the clothes, put the clothes through, and you'd crank it out. Like it's the old-fashioned washing machine over there. So who knows when this was actually? They said it was taken in the 60s. It looks older than the 60s to me.
Right.
I mean those type of pants are like the 1940s at least, or 30s. The type of pants he's wearing.
You know what it probably was is there's probably an actual person in that picture, but he would, when it was taken, the guy happened to move and it was fuzzy. That's all I got. So
yeah.
I wonder if when you become a ghost, like, do ghosts, differentiate like how old they are? Like one ghost from the 1800s, one ghost is from like the 1300s. How does that work? You know what I mean? Is there
when you die? I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. Tara, that's an interesting thing. I know what you're saying. She's saying, is that a genie coming out of the box of junk? Like you see this pipe? It does look like a genie. Look at that. Like spirit, like I dream a genie coming out of the bottle. It does look like that. But I think that's just the discoloration of on the photo. Like it's an old photo. You can see the fold. You can see it's been folded going across there. And I think it's just a smudge on the photo.
Stony Tony's pointing out the pig in the top left-hand corner. There is a pig.
Yeah, the pig. Yeah, the pig. That's the site that I got it from. That's what that is.
Stony's high, so he's thinking about his bacon right now.
Yes, Tony. It is. It is a pig. Good idea. Good eye. Good eye.
Yeah. Thanks for getting involved, Stoney.
Take another puff. You're at it. All right. All right. So I think that's an easy debunker there. And I think I have one more here. All right. One more. Like I said, I didn't have a lot this week, but all right, here we go. This is another still picture. Now, this is taken in London, in an apartment in London. So where's James Simpson? I need him. What do you think this is?
I mean, it could be anything, right? It could be exposure. It could be. It definitely looks like some type of. I mean, it could be like even like an angel, I guess.
It does give a vibe of an angel. It does give that to me. I get the angel vibe. Like, do you see the hand over here? Like the. I don't know if you could see my cursor, but there's a hand, right? You see that? That's like.
Yeah, it looks like a caring spirit, like it's reaching out to, like, it's not there to hurt you.
Yeah.
No.
Now the theory is that this is, or the story behind this is that the photographer's mother had passed away in this apartment very recently from when they took this picture. This picture is taken from a dog cam. They set up a cam to watch the dog while they're not home, and this showed up on it. Sweet Tea says, this is how my pictures used to look when you had to wait for them to get developed. And
it looks like it's like somebody's walking in the middle of the picture. Like the head is above that white stuff.
The head is above the white stuff, but there's no feet.
Dark spots. Well, right, but there's pants at the bottom of like the shirt, we'll say. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
No, I mean it's your perception, whatever it is. Like,
but the guy thinks that that's his mom.
Yeah.
I get it, and if he thinks that, it probably is. Because for somebody that lost their mom, my mom's never shown up in any pictures, but I can 100% get my son can verify this, and he's 30, that my mom's been in the room. She's thrown a pitcher off the dishwasher. This is when we were still in her house, right when she died, and a light. She had these really fancy like plastic star light fix. It was a weird light fixture in the kitchen. Two of them popped off and fell on the floor.
Oh wow!
When we were talking about her. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I had an experience too with when my son was born. How the lights were turned on in his room after I was saying, I was talking about my mother not being there to see him born, because he was born maybe 4 months after she passed, and then I put him to bed, and I said that to my wife, and I shut all the lights off in that room, and then the next morning the lights were on, where my son was sleeping. So I had a similar experience like that.
Yeah, it's so I totally believe in that, and if that guy gets that feeling, then that possibly could be what it is,
Yeah.
And if you're a photographer, like for you and me, like for me, my mom would, to show up in a picture would make sense. I don't take a lot of pictures. I don't look, you know what I'm saying? But for a photographer, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So this guy, supposedly this is a dog cam. He sets it up in his apartment to keep an eye on the dog when he's at work. And this showed up on it. So who knows?
Interesting.
Yeah. Hey, Angelique. Thanks for coming in.
And you know, on something like that, you're really, unless you're just a sicko, you're not going to bring your dead mother into your fake story. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You're
Right.
not going to. So, you got to kind of tend to believe somebody that says something like that.
Mm-hmm.
At least I do. You know?
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, and if you look at this, see, this is what's interesting about pictures like this is like I could see the picture of it. I could see it as if it's the mother, like if that was she was wearing like a white type of gown or something, and that's
Sure.
her arm, her hand sticking out. I could
Is she
also see
holding
that.
something?
I could also see the hand sticking out in the front as if it was a different version, right? Like with the arm extended out in the
Right.
front. You know what I mean? Like you could see it both ways.
Well, I see her hand sticking out there in front, and then her other hand looks like she's holding something. It looks like she's got like either like some type of a necklace or possibly like a purse or something in her hand.
Hmm.
You see
The
that?
one that's down to her left, that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah.
There's
I know what you're
something there.
saying.
Either
Yeah,
that or it's a very long hand.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm. What do you think, Todd Father? Any thoughts on this?
No.
No.
It's just like
No
a
thoughts.
white blurb to me. It's I see what you guys are saying. I see where you're coming up with this stuff, but I don't know. I got nothing else to
Do you see the
contribute. Sorry.
hand? Do you see the hand at the side? Do you see that?
If we're looking at it on the left side, yeah.
Yes, the left
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. I just like I said, I don't
You know, there is software. I've never seen it anywhere, but I've heard about it. There's software that you could run a picture through it, and it'll tell you if it's been doctored, like if it's
Right.
been. Um, so I don't know. Like this one, it would work with this because it's a digital. I don't know if that works with old photos though.
Well, again, I would just, as far as being doctored, now I can understand that the guy just like thinks that it's his mom and it's not,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't see somebody who actually lost their mom saying, "Hey," you know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah.
they doctored it. So I don't know. My opinion.
No,
I think
that's a good point. That's from right, like just from a psychological angle. Like it's unusual that someone would be that much of a creep to do something like that. You know, use their dead mother for something like this.
unless their mom was a jokester and that was,
Hmm.
like her last prank on, the family
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. Prank on. Is that me? I keep
That
hearing
was
an
you
echo.
for some reason. That's weird.
Oh.
Angelique said, my great aunt's daughter passed away. It was Christmas time. She had all the windows closed, and only one of the ornaments went swinging back and forth. She said, what do you want, Charlotte? It stopped moving. Wow, that's creepy.
I said the same thing. My mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I said, what do you want us to do? Is what I said. The echo's weird.
Am I still here?
You're still here. Yeah, yeah. And did you get a response? Like any other any other activity after that?
No. Yeah, it was just a real traumatic time. I don't really remember a whole bunch about that night, but it was it was wild. I think she was just letting us know that everything was going to be okay, type of thing. Like kind of, I think the picture falling off the dishwasher was her telling me to snap out of it and just do what I need to do.
Right.
And that's kind of how I took it.
Yeah, like a wake up call. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So.
All right. So that's it. That's I mean, I think this one could go either way. I mean, I kind of believe Osada's theory here that it's far fetched to someone to make this up. It's this whatever this is. This I think it just appeared on his camera, and he may be jumping to that conclusion, but I don't think he made it up. I don't think this is a false thing.
Yeah, well, there's just certain things that you just can't explain. Like, I don't think I've ever told any of you guys that about the picture, because it's certain things you just don't really talk about because, I mean, like, it really doesn't mean anything to anybody else. They're like, yeah, whatever. Right. But it's really personal. It means a lot to you. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
sure,
it could mean something to that guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Earlier, I put Sandy's Instagram link in the chat. So if anybody's watching the replay, you can check in the chat, and it's her Instagram page she mentioned is.
Oh yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, yep.
Oh, nice.
Because she didn't even tell me that. She didn't even tell me that beforehand. So if she did, I would have put it in the description. And maybe I'll go back and put it in the description too.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
I love the it's the intro to your pictures. It's got like the Alfred Hitchcock vibe to it. It's got a little bit of the Todd Father intro vibe to it. Yeah, very cool.
You know how long it took me? Right? You know how long it took me to do that with Chat GBT? It took me forever to get the thing to do that.
Yeah, I think it's a pain in the butt sometimes. It's cool though. I like it. Well worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
High production. No, no high production there.
Very good.
So yeah, so that's it, guys. Thanks for coming up. Appreciate it.
Yeah, fun.
What's happening for the long weekend? Anything?
Me, I'm not doing anything. I got invited to a couple of barbecues, so maybe I'll go. I don't even know if I'm going to go. I don't know about you guys. Anything up with you?
We have our old neighborhood block party tomorrow. We still attend every year.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep.
I have my farmer's market tomorrow. I went. I had to run an errand down south today, and I regretted it the second I got on the freeway. And I thought I left early. It was I left at like 10 a.m. And I mean, be careful out there if anybody's got to drive this weekend. It does not look good. At least over
crazy,
here.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep. And kids go back to school on Tuesday for us. So.
Right.
Yeah, our kids. Well, my kids are in college now, but I see the bus. The bus started on Monday here. The bus and here went back, so the schools went back on Monday.
Nice.
But
all right then.
But yeah, most people go back on Tuesday. Most of the kids go back on Tuesday, so everyone's getting in their last hurrahs, this weekend.
Well, it's good weather, at least over here. I don't know about you.
It's nice here. I mean, it's not summery, but it's nice. It's the type of weather I love. It's not summer-like though. It's actually cool. It's actually like fall here now. I don't know. It's strange. I think it's a forebearer of a hard winter coming.
Yeah, well, that's what they say across the nation.
Yeah.
So.
I hope not.
Well, you Buffalo folks always get hammered, regardless whether it's a good or bad winter. You get hammered.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, great show, Anthony.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right, I'll let you guys out.
All right, we'll see you.
Yep. All right, guys. So that's the show. Nova Scotia. We started off with a guest who told us about her near-death experience, or her death experience for that matter. So if you missed that, go back and watch it. It's interesting. Her name is Sandy. She has an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and Todd put it in the chat. So it'll be in the replay. I'll try to go back and put it into the actual description too. But if that interests you, go back and take a look. She's a nice lady, had a great story. So I thought that was a good addition to the show. So the rest of you guys, thank you so much for being here on behalf of Lenny, Edgar, and Victor. Where's my finger going? Victor. I want to say thank you so much for joining us and spending this Friday evening. Slim is on next if he's not already on. So check out Slim. If you're hanging out on YouTube, he'll be on. Truck, how are you, Truck? And have a wonderful, blessed, and happy Labor Day weekend. And I will see you next week. Remember, stay scared.